Are you feeling impatient and discouraged while waiting for your miracle? This video will provide you with powerful insights on the importance of trusting God's timing and the role of prayer and faith in overcoming impatience and finding hope. There was a man who had a dream of becoming a successful businessman. He was passionate, hardworking, and had a clear vision of what he wanted to achieve. However, as time went by, he encountered many obstacles and setbacks that made him question his dream. He began to doubt whether his dream would ever come true and started to lose hope. One day, while he was walking through a park, he met an old man who was sitting on a bench. The old man looked at him and said, "Son, why do you look so sad?" The man replied, "I've been working so hard for so long, but I haven't achieved my dream yet. I don't know what else to do." The old man smiled and said, "My son, remember that everything happens in God's timing, not ours. Trust in Him and keep working towards your dream, and it will come true when the time is right." The man was skeptical at first, but he decided to take the old man's advice and trust in God's timing. He continued to work hard and never gave up on his dream. Years later, the man became a successful businessman and realized that the old man was right. Everything happened in God's timing, not his. He learned that patience and trust were essential ingredients in achieving his dream. We all have dreams and goals that we want to achieve in life. However, we often get impatient and try to rush things. We want everything to happen now, but we forget that God has a plan for us, and everything happens in His timing, not ours. Trusting God's timing is not always easy, especially when we are facing difficult situations, setbacks, and disappointments. But we must remember that God's timing is perfect. He knows what is best for us, and He will make everything beautiful in its time. Let us therefore trust in God's timing and keep working towards our dreams. Let us be patient and have faith that everything will happen when it is supposed to happen. Remember, God's timing is always perfect.
In life's journey, we often find ourselves in the midst of waiting for a breakthrough, a miracle, or a blessing that's worth celebrating. The waiting period can be long and tiresome, testing our patience and faith. But in this time, we must remember that God's timing is never late. Impatience can creep in, and we may become anxious in our waiting, but we must trust that God is working and our miracle is in the making. We must not rush the process, for it's in the waiting that we grow, and the lessons we learn will help us in ways we may not yet know. We must keep our eyes fixed on God and His promises so true, for His word will sustain us, and His love will see us through. We must pray without ceasing and seek His face every day, for in His presence we find strength and hope to make our way. So let us be patient in our waiting and trust in God's plan divine, for He knows the desires of our hearts, and His will is always on time. Our miracle may not come when we want it, but it will surely come. And in the waiting, we'll find that God's goodness and mercy never run outdone.
Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you were waiting for a miracle? Maybe you were waiting for a loved one to recover from an illness, or waiting for a job opportunity to come through. Waiting for a miracle can be one of the most difficult things we go through in life. It can be a time of uncertainty, doubt, and fear. But as Christians, we have a powerful tool at our disposal that can help us during these times of waiting: prayer. Prayer is not just a religious ritual that we engage in, but it is a powerful form of communication with God. It is a way for us to connect with Him and to bring our worries, fears, and concerns before Him. And when we pray, we are reminded that we are not alone in our waiting. God is with us, and He hears our prayers. But sometimes, when we are waiting for a miracle, it can be easy to lose faith. We might begin to doubt that God is listening to us, or that He even cares. But the Bible tells us that God is always with us, and that He is working all things together for our good. When we pray, we are reminded of this truth, and our faith is strengthened. So what can we do when we are waiting for a miracle? The first thing we can do is to pray. We can bring our concerns before God and ask Him for His help. And we can also pray for others who are going through difficult times. Prayer is not just for our own benefit, but it can also be a way for us to show love and compassion to others. The second thing we can do is to trust in God's timing. We might want our miracle to happen right away, but God might have a different plan. We need to trust that He knows what is best for us, and that He will bring our miracle to fruition in His own time. And finally, we can take action. Sometimes we need to do more than just pray. We might need to take steps to bring about the miracle we are waiting for. This might involve seeking medical treatment, applying for jobs, or reaching out to loved ones for support. In conclusion, the power of prayer in times of waiting for a miracle cannot be overstated. It is a way for us to connect with God, to strengthen our faith, and to show love and compassion to others. So let us continue to pray, trust in God's timing, and take action when necessary. And let us never forget that God is always with us, even in our times of waiting.
In the stillness and in the quiet, we often find ourselves in a waiting plight. We eagerly anticipate what's to come, but God's timing is not always on the run. For in the waiting He is at work. Our faith is being molded like clay in the dirt. Though it may seem like an endless delay, God is using this time to have His way. It's in the waiting that we learn to trust, to have faith in God, who is always just. He's preparing us for what's to come, so that we may stand firm, not succumb. We must not grow weary in the waiting, for God is faithful, and His love is never fading. He's teaching us to wait on Him alone, and to make His will our very own. So let us embrace the waiting season, and find joy in God, the reason. For He is using this time to strengthen our faith, and to prepare us for His glorious grace.
In this life, we all have moments when we feel like we are waiting for a miracle. It may be a job, a relationship, or even physical healing. Whatever it is, it can feel like we are in a dark and lonely place with no end in sight. But I am here to tell you that there is always hope. In the book of Psalms, we read, "I waited patiently for the Lord. He turned to me and heard my cry." Psalm chapter 40 verse 1. This verse reminds us that even when we feel like we are waiting in darkness, God hears our cries. He sees our pain and He knows our struggles. But how do we hold on to hope when we feel like we are in the midst of a storm? We must remember that God is with us, even in the darkest of moments. He is not distant or uncaring. In fact, He is closer to us than we could ever imagine. We also need to remember that miracles can come in unexpected ways. It may not be the way we imagined or hoped for, but God is always working things out for our good. Romans chapter 8 verse 28. And even when we don't understand what He is doing, we can trust that He is faithful and His plans for us are good. So as you wait for your miracle, hold on to hope. Remember that God hears your cries and He is with you in the midst of the storm. Trust Him and know that even when things don't make sense, He is working all things together for your good. Subscribe for daily inspirational and blessing videos. Don't forget to share this video with people who need it.